Join me as I dive into the past and try to find out if medieval people really smelled that bad. I'll even put some of their hygiene habits to the test. Medieval people were dirty, smelly, and generally pretty grimy, right? That's what we've been led to believe, at least. But how much of this stereotype is actually rooted in truth? Did people in the Middle Ages really reek to high heaven, or have we been unfairly judging them for centuries? One of the biggest challenges when it comes to understanding medieval hygiene is separating historical fact from fictionalized depictions. We've all seen movies and TV shows that portray medieval villagers as filthy, disease-ridden peasants. But how much of this is artistic license, and how much is based on actual historical records? The truth is, our perception of medieval hygiene has been shaped by centuries of cultural and social biases. Historical documents and archaeological evidence can be unreliable or incomplete, leading to a perpetuation of negative stereotypes. Additionally, the writings of medieval elites, who were more likely to have had access to better hygiene facilities, often skewed our understanding of the average person's hygiene practices. Meanwhile, Hollywood and TV have happily perpetuated the medieval stench myth, reinforcing our collective imagination with characters like Braveheart's William Wallace or Game of Thrones' Hot Pie. This means that, in order to get a more accurate picture of medieval hygiene, we need to dig deeper and look beyond the stereotypes. So, what did medieval people actually do to keep themselves clean? In medieval Europe, bathing was a fairly regular occurrence, especially among the wealthy. While it's true that water was scarce in many areas, especially during the winter months, people still found ways to clean themselves. In fact, medieval towns often had public bathhouses where people could go to wash up, a far cry from the image of medieval villagers wallowing in their own filth. Perfumes and fragrances were also popular, particularly among the nobility. In fact, exotic spices like myrrh and cinnamon were highly prized for their fragrance and antibacterial properties. And when it came to personal grooming, medieval people took pride in their appearance, with men often sporting neatly trimmed beards and women wearing intricately styled hair. So what's the deal with the medieval stench myth? Recent historical research has suggested that our ancestors weren't as smelly as we've been led to believe. In fact, medieval people placed a considerable amount of importance on personal hygiene, especially in urban areas. One aspect of medieval life that might have contributed to the stench myth is the use of cesspits and chamber pots, which did lead to some pretty pungent smells. However, this wasn't unique to the medieval period. In fact, it was a problem that persisted well into the 19th century. Another factor might be the cultural differences in hygiene practices between medieval Europe and modern Western societies. For example, medieval people often used cloths or fabric to clean themselves, rather than water, an approach that might seem alien to us today. Ultimately, the idea that medieval people were excessively smelly is a stereotype that's been perpetuated by a mix of cultural biases, historical inaccuracies, and artistic license. While medieval hygiene practices might not have been as advanced as ours today, it's clear that people still made an effort to keep themselves clean. So there you have it. Medieval people weren't as smelly as we've been led to believe. While their hygiene practices might have been different from ours, it's clear that they placed a significant amount of importance on personal cleanliness. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on medieval hygiene. Please like and subscribe for more historical misconceptions, pub history, and many more interesting tidbits.